Hello, everyone. Welcome out to the hitting zone. You're used to seeing Mitch and I in the studio, but we're at the hitting zone today, live, coming to you live, and as always, powered by Game 7 Baseball. Game7baseball.com. We couldn't get Dave. Dave couldn't make it today, which is a bummer, but we'll get Dave back out. Dave Penning, Dave Schmidt. We're on our winter workout tour. This is part of what we're doing with our winter workout tour. As you saw in the lead up to this, coming up Monday, the 29th, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, we've got our first tour stop in Kansas City. Going to be coming at you. We were with Mac and Sights. That was a lot of fun up there. Danny Lake, Nick Crouch. Appreciate those guys for having us in. That's going to be upcoming this Monday, the 29th, so don't miss that. Game 7 Baseball, we're going to be heading to Nashville this weekend. Got some cool stuff coming up. We're going to be in Nashville filming some more tour stops. We're looking forward to it. Then next Tuesday, we're going to be back at the Rawlings Training Center over with the Rawlings Tigers. Then after that, we're going to be at the Sports Barn, the new Sports Barn in Illinois. We got some good stuff coming up, dude. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure while you're here, please hit the subscribe button, hit the dinger.
That's what we do.
That's what we do. We hit dingers, and that gets you all your notifications for upcoming episodes such as this. We got some great stuff. Joining us, Steve Mayer with Prime USA. That's what we got here. We got to talk a little bit about that, Mitch. We're in the hitting zone, though, right? But the club, you guys are, because there used to be Tribe Baseball, but you guys are Prime USA now, right?
USA Prime.
We merged. Yep. USA Prime. Yeah. My bad. Get it right.
It kind of sounds like a steak, you might get from Schnucks or
I'm okay
Nearburgers
with
or something
steak.
Like that. We merged with that program with Dan Seddon and Earl Green over the summer. We brought in a few teams like Coach Mayers and some others that joined us this past year. So USA Prime is the house team, if you will, here at the hitting zone. And Dan Seddon was going to join us, but they induced his wife. Congratulations on the new baby.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we shout out to Dan Seddon. Appreciate you, miss you, but we'll catch up with you. Congrats, right?
Yeah,
that's cool
absolutely.
stuff.
Especially with what they're going through with his personal and his wife's personal journey. So congratulations to them too. That's
awesome. So we're thinking about you guys. Game 7 Baseball, though, make sure you go check out Game7Baseball.com. You're registered, right?
We are. Both teams are, actually.
Talk about a little bit Game 7, bro. Get a different perspective.
So we took advantage of some of their early sign-up options on Black Friday that weekend.
Yeah.
So what Game 7 was doing, they were offering a little bit of a discount for the Warrenton events because it's new.
Right.
Trying to attract some people to come play. And my logic was, well, we're all going over to Illinois to play turf. If you're not playing PG, you're going to Illinois to play turf all the time. And I want to play as much turf as possible just for the sake of cancellations, right?
Right.
So I noticed there was a discount there, and then there was a further discount for the Black Friday stuff. So I jumped on 4 or 5 tournaments each team and just got all those done right away back in late November. And then I kind of waited and hoped that other people were thinking like me, and multiple of them are full. So we got in luckily early, got our choice of which weekends we wanted to play, and the Daves have been really good to us and never had any issues. They had an issue with me once, but I'm really good at ownership, and I reached out to Dave before he even heard about the issue, and we had it squashed by the time it got to him. But yeah, they've always had real good luck with the Game 7 stuff.
Their public rate, they do a good job. They think about they try to treat people. That's what I've known Dave and Dave. It was cool. You're talking about this. Yesterday we were rained in, it was iced in everybody. So I was working from home, and I was cleaning out a bunch of stuff in my office at home, and I pulled out all these pictures, and in there was pictures of my 8U Tigers team, St. Peter's Tigers, man, way back. Eric Webb, Drake Salzman, Alex Owens, Zach Huck. It was a solid team, dude. We had a nice, solid
That's a long
8U
time
team.
ago.
What year would that have been?
Oh,
I don't know the names.
5.
Oh, 5. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's
wow.
been a minute. 06 maybe, something like that.
I know some coaches around here that would still be sleeping with those.
So I pulled out the pictures, and we finished in second in the tournament. We're getting the trophies, and there was Dave Penning. It was a Super Series tournament.
Oh, wow.
Oh, when he was with a different organization. Back
Yeah,
then.
Super Series. His dad, whenever they were running Super Series.
Yeah.
And there's Penning giving out the trophies. 8 years. That's how long it's been, man. So, been
That's a
around
good
those guys.
relationship.
Been around those guys a while. And Dave Schmidt, we played against his son's team at St. Peter's with the league and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, he had the St. Peter's Wildcats.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. We are our high school side has got a few Game 7 events too. We're gonna send a couple up to Quincy up there, and then Q Towns, and then going out to Warrenton because they're full size baseball fields. So
Yeah.
we can go out there and get our reps in for high school level.
I like what they're doing, the Warrenton piece. That I'm looking forward to seeing what that, and the growth of that, and see how that works out. It's going to be a lot of fun. So let's get into the show here a little bit, guys. I'm on our tour. We've been talking. We're always on our winter workout tour. We're at clubs. We're talking to different people. It's the same thing. It's getting out, talking to folks like yourself. Mitch and I flap gums all the time about this stuff. So it's always good to get perspective from different coaches and things in clubs and things of that nature. Because there's always, club baseball. I think the biggest thing, and one of the things that I think got away from us a bit was, you're hearing, this 11U, 10U, 12U kid, man. Oh, dude, they're Division I. What? I'm like, he's not good enough to play high school baseball. Let's let him get to high school first. And I think it got a little carried away. And I think we're trying to, and these things we talk about, trying to bring that focus back, trying to put it back into where it needs to be, preparing these kids for high school baseball.
Yeah, so I'm a huge advocate of my only focus, my only reason for existing in this space is to prepare both of my teams to make and hopefully start on their high school team.
Right.
After that, anything else is a bonus. Hopefully I get to keep coaching them. If I'm not the best guy or wherever we're at makes me hand them off, then so be it. But that's the only goal I have is if you're still playing baseball with me when you go into high school, I want all my guys to make their high school team. And then like I said, anything else is a bonus. But that's the only focus.
Now, is your son playing your team?
Yes.
Okay. So dad coach.
10 and 12s.
Right?
Yeah,
10
on
and
both
12, so
teams,
you got
yeah.
2?
Yep.
Okay. Dad coach.
Daddy ball.
That's okay. Daddy ball, we talk about these things, it goes back and forth. I think the perspective I have on these things, we've discussed this quite a bit, and we talk about dad coach. We just had our dad coaches clinic. We had one here. We had one down in Fitton at Champions Village. And we had Tony Perkins, Tim Canavan, Mason Horn, Darren Sissel, there it is, I'll spit it out in a minute. Darren Sissel and Kevin Mulder out there talking baseball with these guys, going through this stuff. Dad coaches, in my opinion, should be where it's at from 8 up through 14. If you got it at 14, okay, maybe so. Fantastic, right? All right, fine. But, that's the backbone of it. And do you have any experience playing ball?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
So my experience,
Yeah, your
okay,
experience.
so high school, college. I was lucky enough to sign 2 independent contracts after college. Got released before ever playing a game, so got my shot, failed. Now I'm here, like 99.9% of us, right? So it is what it is, but I get way more of a thrill, and I was thinking about this about a year ago. When we're working out in here or when we're playing games, I'm watching my kids grow, I get way more of a thrill than whatever I remember from my own games. Like being on this end of it, and having the impact that we do on this end, I'm hoping this is what my coaches felt like when they had me. But this is way better than anything I ever remember doing individually. So, now, well, like we were mentioning Daddy Ball, yes, I'm a dad and I coach the teams. But, what people get caught up with the word Daddy Ball or the phrase Daddy Ball is an actual act. It's not the fact that a dad is a coach on a team. It's actually doing the things that put your kid over more deserving kids because he's your son, right?
Gotcha.
So, I work very hard to make sure that no one will ever look at me and be able to say, he plays Daddy Ball, right? Both of my boys get what they earn at all times and nothing more, nothing less. And, most of the time it's even harder to be the coach's kid, right?
Yeah. I agree with that.
But yeah, Daddy Ball versus a dad coach are two totally different things, and a lot of people forget, and they get they blur that a little bit, and they just think, oh, I want to play for a paid coach because then I don't have to worry about Daddy Ball. No. Pay attention to the guy you're potentially going to play for, and make sure he doesn't engage in Daddy Ball. Then it doesn't matter that he's a dad coach. Play for the best guy who's going to develop your kid. So I think that's how we win on my two teams, is I do have people that want to come play for us because of the way that we develop the kids, the way I treat the kids, the way we build the family environment, and that's how I win.
We're going to come back to that thought. I want to take a moment, and especially with that right up there, Prime Sports. Everybody is, if you're around here and Rick Benz, Sal McGee, down at Champions Village, they just had the roof, the rain with all the stuff.
Ooh, yeah.
I love what those guys do, and we're so glad to hear you saw. I think they're back up and open. I haven't looked this morning, been up to my eyeballs, but we're going to look. But we want to give a shout out to Rick Benz over there. Does a great job with Prime Sports Midwest. Shop local, guys. Do that. Please do. That's what we do. We love working with Rick Benz over there. We're so glad to see that the community that got in and really helped them, and he's been great. And the people that have really been so helpful. I love to see that, right?
Absolutely.
Getting business back up, getting those guys back up and running. We're with you. We'll get back over there sometime here real soon and get the cameras over and back and say hello. We want to do that. But remember, folks, primesportsmidwest.com. Go there, check it out, their online store. Go to the store physically. They got gloves, your uniforms. They got you can create your team stores, you guys got your team stores, right?
We did, yep. I will always use Prime Sports Midwest for our team stores.
There you go.
If there's any issues that are local, I can take it to him. He'll come up, he'll send his son up, he'll send anybody up here to come get stuff. And I know we're not far from Fenton, but at the end of the day, the customer service is probably what sold me the most.
There you go.
Because gear is gear. A4 is A4 anywhere you go. Rawlings is Rawlings anywhere you go. It is the customer service from Prime Sports Midwest I love the most.
I love that. Love to hear it. Rick, we got you, buddy. Appreciate everything from Prime Sports Midwest. Go check it out.
So this area back here is basically production. They do a lot of the artwork back here. They do the production. So any of that stuff that comes in off of, we'll say, our fanware stores, stuff that comes in off the team stores, a lot of the coaches wear, a lot of the last minute, hey, we got to have it in the next 10 minutes stuff. That's all comes back here. This area is where all the day-to-day stuff that comes in really goes through. The retail store is its own little entity. This is where the real work is done.
All right, folks, we're going to continue this conversation. We're talking about dad coaches and whatnot, and I loved what you said there, Steve, because I think I personally hadn't thought about it that way, and I love the way you differentiated, because what is it, Domingo Ayala, the coach's kid?
Short
Yeah,
staff.
yeah.
Yeah.
his on-base percentage is like his fielding percentage or something like that.
I used to love it. Domingo stuff.
He's still around, not as prevalent.
Yeah, not as prolific as he
yeah,
was.
Right.
You know,
Still
I mean, I think
Hopefully he cashed in when it was hot, though. He was traveling around.
Yeah, he
big
was
league
having fun.
clubhouses and
He
stuff,
is
so-
more. I think he does more of your like, let me go into the clubhouse kind of scene versus, you know, the little gimmick that he was with
Yeah.
the
Right.
youth side of things.
Yeah.
He's actually speaking on behalf of some of his experiences as a player, and then obviously bringing some of that humor that is Domingo.
yeah, I think it's cool.
Can
But
I give you a little
it's
funny,
true.
Can I give you a little
Yeah.
funny story about what something about his daddy ball, I guess, if you will? So this was I think just this past or last week. His oldest son, I sit with Coach Wade Rothermich, Fort Zumwalt North kid. We were sitting there
I remember
running
Wade,
training,
yeah.
and I was asking the kids about adjustments, and sometimes they make them, sometimes they don't care, and you know, so of course me, I always will try to find, you know, what we're the end goal. And so I was having a conversation with his son, and I go, "Where's your dad hit you in the lineup?" He goes, "Depends on what I'm doing." He goes, "Am I hitting well or am I terrible?" And I go, "Well, both." He goes, "Well, if I'm hitting well, I probably end up in the top half of the lineup, but if I'm not doing my job, I'm not playing." And for me, that was kind of that line of what is daddy ball, you know what I mean? Because if your son's not producing and somebody else is, you got to play him. That's how I coached my kids. That's why I had the people play for me that did when I was a dad coach. Was because I was fair. I wanted to win, and so what was the best solution to win?
And the thought process here with dad coaches and whatnot, and you know, as a club, what is the thought process developing kids for high school, Mitch?
Well, having some high school experience has helped me kind of understand the conference that our area is in, specifically the hitting zone. And most of our kids come from St. Charles County. And knowing what's out here, I have to then prepare them for that. And so we don't just develop necessarily always the same skill set, like, hey, let's come in and just get some reps in batting. We are trying to have adjustments, being able to mentally challenge the game, because that's one of the hardest things to do right now. And then, you know, you might make 2 years of freshman and sophomore ball, but you might be at a varsity program that's you're not making, you know, and so I don't want to sugarcoat nothing. So I'm very to the point. I'm very matter of fact. And when it comes down to the training side, not always do I just throw BP. Sometimes I don't throw anything at all, and I might not say a word, but sometimes I might talk too much. I am trying to prep them.
Wait a minute, that's a shocker.
I am trying to prep
We
them.
met when we were like 16 years old, so I've known him a long time.
Yeah, I want to prep them to be the best that they can be, and understand that when it comes time to try out, the only thing that you are responsible for is your action, your effort, your abilities. If your IQ's down, that's my fault. You know, the skill set thing I can only do so much with. But we are developing in all facets. I think that we develop the speed and agility side. That we get kids that, the high school side is much easier because they can go to the gym. So we get them to the gym memberships. Then we get into the baseball side of things. And again, it is not always skills and drills, because you have to get between the ears.
And we just had Coach Allen on, and
His son plays for me.
Oh, does he really?
On the 10
Newers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember that. I love Coach Allen. I think he's great. He's fun to talk to, and that program, he gets a lot out of those kids. He really does. And I think they're going to be right there again this year. After that, but when you look at the scale of even the North, the GAC North in this area, from North Point now is in there. You got Winfield playing good baseball. You've got Warrenton, St. Charles, West, even Orchard Farm. They won their district last year.
Yeah, they'll have a kid or two, and all you have to do is get hot at the right time. And the only reason I know all this is just because I have kids in every GAC conference. And while I understand that the conference that Francis Howell is in and Fort Zumwalt West, they have the dudes, but there is somebody somewhere that, Warrenton's got a kid that throws 85 to 87. Yeah. You got St. Charles got a kid that can drive the baseball out of the park. Yeah. You got a kid at St. Charles West that can throw, that's going to Mizzou. And they got kids behind that are younger, that they're going to get better and see a lot of playing time.
And we're going to be able to talk with, we're going to get Carson Quinn, Noah Gramling, a couple of seniors from that St. Charles West School. We're going to get them on a player spotlight. And I mean, really solid baseball players. These are solid baseball players. And that's the thing. And you're, like I said, you talk about Class 4, you get some solid talent, kids that know how to play the game and they can play together, you can go a long way.
You also can't forget about the kids that are in Hannibal on down,
right?
Or, you know, in Palmyra on down, or whatever, however small schools you want to go to too, or the private schools. Mm-hmm. You know, the Smets of the world, the CBCs,
Wow.
the St. Dominic. Like I used to think Missouri did not have good baseball. I think we did a bad job of marketing who our athletes were, because
Agreed.
The last few years of being able to coach high school baseball and then have high school kids coaching in this, oh my gosh, the talent around here is bonkers.
Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Most of my experience is from 12 down.
Right.
But you're seeing these kids grow up faster than they've ever had to grow up before, and everybody can have their opinions on if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but ultimately, no matter which side of the fence you land on, it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
Because if you choose to be in this world, you can't. Well, I'm just gonna step in there a little bit. You got to be all in or don't be in, because the people who are going at this go at this very hard.
Yeah. Yes.
And
agreed.
If you're not doing the same, then you risk falling behind or maybe never being relevant. Do I think it's fair? Probably not. I would love for them to grow up and be kids like we were.
Well,
but,
and I think there's both sides, and let's look at that. I understand exactly what you're saying, but I think there's some other people that I've heard and talk with that say, no, play multiple sports, play as many sports. Mm-hmm. High school will fisher everything out, and you see that to a degree. What do you say? What do you think of that thought process?
Well, he knows exactly. So it's not a rule. It's kind of an unwritten rule. But on both of my teams, there's not anybody who doesn't play another sport.
Okay.
So it's when I decide, I'm going to make an offer out to this player, I'll find mom or dad, or I'll ask them on the field at the tryout, what else do you do?
Yeah.
And I'm just hoping to hear something, right? Because
play basketball, or
100%,
whatever,
100%.
soccer.
And so it does create some issues in the fall, because I have 12 football players between my two teams.
Oh, wow.
7 on one, 5 on another. I got multiple hockey players, a couple wrestlers, and the rest are basically basketball, one soccer. But I want athletes, because especially at these ages,
Yeah.
I don't need me taking these kids only doing baseball and turning them into robots at 10, 11, 12. They're going to end up having to make that decision at some point, at least down to 2 sports or whatever when they get into high school. I don't want them to make that decision any sooner than they have to. I want them to go out. I want to give them a chance to miss the game, right? So one of the best parts was after the end of a long summer grind, we knew it was over, and we're like, all right, on to football 2-a-days, and then on to basketball or wrestling in the winter, and then back to baseball. And by the time that came around, you were foaming for the baseball.
Loved it.
You couldn't wait to get your stuff out again. And having multi-sport kids allows them to be able to leave the game as their primary, pick up their other sport, make that their primary for a couple months, get a break, and then have a chance to miss it and then get excited about it again. And when we do ramp it up and kind of get back into full speed, while they may need a little time to knock off some rust, they're better athletes than they would have been had they not been playing baseball.
Yeah.
So we're going to make up that time quicker, in my opinion.
And I think that preparing kids for high school baseball, I think those things go into that, especially when you're talking about now Class 6, Class 5, different animals. And some Class 5s are still in this boat where you need multiple athletes. You need multiple sport athletes for some of these schools to compete. And especially in a Class 4 setting, you got to have guys that play multiple sports. Yeah. And it was funny because that's some of the, when we do our player spotlights, we're trying to get the kids, to schedule and whatnot. And Carson, I think it was Carson Quinn. Yeah, he's also a basketball player. Well, they canceled the game, had to reschedule it, so we're changing times. It happens. That's okay because he's playing basketball right now. Fantastic. And I think if you love a sport and you enjoy playing, especially in high school and some of those places, and you can play. The game will, at some point, spit you out.
Yeah.
And
Any of those sports.
Yeah.
Any of them.
Any
Exactly.
of them. And who knows which one you're the best at.
And if you know full well at a junior, senior, you know I've got to devote my time and I'm that kind of elite athlete, you can say that. You can say, all right, I'm just going to do this and I'm going to put myself there and do that. And I think that's great. I think those things are fantastic as well.
I look at like today's youth, especially like his age group, and I love that whole multi-sport thing. It's tough on the coach because you're going to want them there. You're paying for these opportunities. You feel like it might be a misstep or you might not have a chance to get better or whatever. However, is that kid working out on the side? Does he decide to come up to the gym and use his access that he has to the facility? And some people do that, so you don't have to tend to worry about it. At the high school level, it does start to change. And then if you have these kids that have these desires to go on, they have to risk something. There's always this high risk, high reward kind of thing. So if you want to be a Division I athlete, you need to work like one. I've never just woke up one day and said I could practice twice a week and not lift weights and not throw a baseball for 2-3 months and go, I'm a D1 athlete. I never could have done that. And you can't do that today. And I'm not saying that you have to spend hours a day, but there's a place that you can spend 5 minutes working on your mental side of the game, trying to visualize things as a hitter. That's a rep. That's a mental rep. That's a challenge, right? So for the high school side of things, I love the two-sport athletes. You have to do your job. And if you want to play for my team, that means you have to continue doing your job. I don't care that you're miss practice. You miss all the practice you want, but you better be coming up working when you have the opportunity.
That goes to the other, and we talk about this a lot, and we kind of disagree in a couple of these things and whatnot. But I think this is the one.
I like the -5 versus -3 bats at 14U.
I know he was good. He knew what I was talking about.
No, don't even.
That's
get me
our
started.
biggest argument. It's gotta be.
How do you, and you're dealing with 10 and 12, right? See, and I think this is the other part of this equation, and I always like to get perspectives on this. Maturity level. Kids are growing at different levels. You may have a kid that's much further along on your 12U team than another kid, but the other kid may have more potential.
Yeah.
Right? How do you? What's your thought process? It's development.
It's happening on both
It's
teams.
developing sometimes just because of the maturity level, right?
Yeah, 100%. Because the maturity level can get in the way of getting in the reps, and getting the work in and the extra work in away from the team, which is another thing that I never stop repeating to the parents and to the kids. But yeah, maturity level will absolutely halt a kid's progress. If I have to spend more time addressing one or two kids who can't, lock in, then that's taking away time from themselves, taking away time from their teammates. And ultimately, what I try to let them know is, while they're 9 and 10 and 11 and 12, I know they can't fully understand and appreciate some of these concepts. But if you say them enough,
right?
If you just keep pounding it, they will get it sooner than they would have if you say, oh, well, they're too young for this concept.
Right.
I started pouring stuff into my kids at 7, 8 years old that I knew would take 2-3 years for them to actually get.
Right.
But when it clicked, we would be ahead of the curve. So I tell them all the time, like, this is the kind of stuff that's going to prevent you from doing the thing that you love the most. Whether it's baseball, football, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
You are who you are, and you want to do these things. And whatever you choose to do, gaming, coding, sports, if you don't work through this or learn to lock in a little bit, if not for yourself, for your teammates so they can get their work in, then you are eventually going to stop doing this sooner than maybe you planned on.
Yeah.
I agree with what he's saying. From being able to coach his kids, I'm talking about his kids, his 10 and 12U team, you do see maturity growth, and some kids really have a high IQ, and some kids that are struggling, and you can't give up on those kids, right?
Well, then the other
then
part
you
too,
talk about your potentials, because you
the
might
physical
have a kid
maturity
Yeah.
too.
He's got a kid that's on 12U that might be like, I don't know, what is he, 5'9"
Which
already,
one?
massive kid.
Which one, Wes or Mason?
Wes. It's the
Yeah,
only one I
Wes, big
see
boy.
often.
Okay.
And he is a
12U?
massive, yeah,
Yeah.
and he's still
Yeah.
got a lot to go, and you have to just constantly repeat, which is fine, because that ultimately tells you what you have to work on as a coach. So you find things that he can relate to, and it might click for him. And then all that stuff that you've been talking about for 3 years, saying, he's too young, you shouldn't do that. Because he said that to me actually the other day, because I said I didn't want to say something to him. He's like, no, just say it. And if
do
they
it.
have to ask questions, you give them the why, because that's what our generation wants now, right, is the why.
They can't function without the why.
So that's a challenge, and that's what I do love about the coaching side of things, and that's why I can't get stuck in my old ways. We talk constantly every day about just what he thinks 10U, 12U is. I've obviously experienced it. You've experienced it more than I. So when you trickle down to the conversations that I have, I try to trickle them down to here, and then sometimes we can breathe. Sometimes it's panic mode. But again, it's the learning. So we try to teach our kids what we're learning, and every day is a rep to get better for all of us.
I'm an old guy. So,
He
sometimes.
said before the show started, though, he's not much older than me, and I told him how old I was. He went, oh, off air. He's close to 60.
Because you're 3, right?
I'm 43.
I'm 3, yeah.
How old are you?
You're 43.
I'm 57.
What? I would have never guessed.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
AARP.
I would have thought like 49.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I would have
Bruce.
went sub 5 for sure.
Keep it real.
I am not going to look
No.
like that at 57. Trust me.
But the thing, the why part, I grew up, because I said so.
Oh, yeah.
Well, those. No, I do believe, because we all function at a why level, and I don't think that's wrong. I think that's a good thing. We should say, this is why.
Mm-hmm.
And they may just be like, yeah, okay. And the drool's coming out and whatnot. It don't matter. You still explain the why, and you explain it because at some point, like you said, because physical maturity, some of these kids may have, you got this kid that's 5-something at 12.
Yeah.
He's got a lot more physical maturity than the other kid. Probably can do things better physically, but yet still, he's 12.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, and that's what we have to continue to grasp. He may be able to pound the baseball, and his physical attributes make up for some of the mental.
He's actually pretty locked in
And that's even better.
mentally. Like he's one of our. We're really fortunate on the 12U team, and I don't care what it gets attributed to, but we're really fortunate to have a group of kids who, for the most part, know that. In your experience with other 12U teams or that age, around that age group, we don't play around a lot. They know that that's not something that I allow, and the expectations for my 10s are the same as my 12s, and the expectation for both of them is what I think is going to be expected in high school.
Here's the segue. How are those expectations?
How do I push them out?
How do you keep the parents in that same perspective?
Well, I'm
you
a coach.
do that?
They're the parents. Right?
Okay.
So,
all right. But it's Johnny, and I always believe this. I'm very much about this. I'm an advocate on both sides, and he knows this, because I don't believe in this, and especially even on the high school side. And I've said this out loud, and I know there's coaches that don't talk to me, don't do this, don't do that. That's my son. And please don't tell me I can't ask about my son. Now, that doesn't mean I got to go and act like an ignorant,
Right.
what. And I believe that a coach ought to be able to say, look, if you want to talk about your son, I'll be happy to do it, but we're not going to do it at a level that's over the top. And you have to be real with people and have those conversations. If parents deal with a coach on a level that is right, and coming to you in the mindset of, I want to help my son, I know you're wanting to help my son, let's have a conversation. I want to know what you're saying so that we can be on the same page. If he's working at home and I'm on a tee, I got to know what you're saying to him. And I think that needs to be more the conversation, which I don't think it is a lot of times.
So
Too much ego.
to that note, I am very fortunate, and he knows this. When you come to play for me, the parents don't say yes without knowing everything that I'm about, how I operate, how I'm going to treat your kid, how I'm going to grow your kid. There's no questions. I don't hide the fact that I'm not the funnest coach in the world to play for. It doesn't bother me to say. We are not going to be, orange slices and candy, and we're not playing duck goose at practice.
That's okay, Coach. I don't care. As long, though, at the end of the game, we do get a snow cone.
Nope. You want to get a snow cone? Go get a snow cone on your own time.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, you can get as many snow cones as you want.
As long as we can. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But I said at the end of the game, when it's all over and whatnot, we got to have some snow cones and swimming pools, right?
Yeah, we can set aside like a team party, like a team party for that. Maybe.
Coach Steve is trying to be tough, which I love. But there was a moment that I can remember from about 2 years ago.
This ought to be rich.
When you got done with something and you took a couple pies to the face.
Oh, okay.
So you do have some fun.
Okay.
All right, that's cool.
I made a deal with the team about how we performed in the tournament, and we would let that happen.
That's okay.
And it was to end the fall.
That's the deal. Deals are part of the process.
I'm
That's
also very methodical and strategic about when I'll do that kind of stuff. But yeah, we let every kid Cool Whip pies to the face. And it turned into all the coaches getting it, and we're chasing parents down, and it was a lot of fun. But that was the time to decompress. The end of the fall, we were done, we were moving on.
Yeah. I wanted to be one of the kids.
I'm not going to do that.
Pie to the face.
But typically, my belief is you should already be having fun playing baseball. It should already be in the game.
Yeah.
You're playing a game with your friends.
I understand. I agree with
Parents
you.
and coaches ruin that feeling of fun. So my goal is to help install the passion and love so that they can never be broken.
What makes the game fun?
Yeah, because they working hard and realizing your efforts on the field and maybe pulling off your first backhand, laying down your first bunt, doing something that we've been working tirelessly for, that maybe you hated me a couple weeks ago because you couldn't feel your legs after practice. Then you go out and execute, and all of a sudden that aha moment, as you just beat it out to first base, you're like, man, it does
high
work.
fiving,
all of a
pumped
sudden,
up.
and what that new feeling of fun does is it ignites that passion a little bit more, and it makes you want to buy in more, and it makes you want to go do more, and that's when the game is fun.
I don't disagree with that, man.
To me, it's not like,
I think it should be fun like that.
Well,
Timmy's mom brought popsicles. That's not.
That's
that
okay,
doesn't exist
too.
in my world.
Not
on my team.
It is.
Don't.
When the game is over.
They're just handing them out after he leaves.
That's
fine. That's fine.
See, that's what's nice about having team parents and team moms is that when the night is over.
I love team moms.
Yeah, when the
Team
night
moms
is
are the
over,
best.
the kids get to. That's when it's the same way at 16th. It's the same way at high school for us. We still want to make the game as fun, but what makes the game fun? It's the stuff that happens in between the lines that make it fun. And I don't want my kids thinking about popsicles. I'm the same way. But after we're done, do whatever you want. I have certain rules. You can't walk around in flip-flops because I don't want somebody roll an ankle. Call it petty. Call it what you want. If you wear your jersey top, it's tucked in. Otherwise, take your jersey off if you want to wear it untucked. Is it petty? I have no idea. But that's how I was grown up. And
no hat backwards on the field.
I loved. Oh,
we're not on the field, are we?
Listen, this is funny.
If my teams were in here working right now, like they'll be tomorrow night, not one of them will have their hat on backwards, and if they do, I'm going to get them.
One of them.
I do this because
this isn't the same thing, but if they're playing catch at practice, where we practice at, and I show up, and kids start showing up, they go out and start getting their work in, and I see a kid with his hat on backwards, maybe he forgot it's on backwards. But I'll be like, hey.
No, his team won't let it happen. So this is funny. The other day of practice, kid put his hat on. He put it on backwards, kind of just sneaked it around, and then flipped it around quick. And I said, why'd you do that? He said, Coach Steve doesn't like it when we're practicing. And I go, dude, when we're done, you guys, I want you to, everybody just flip their hats
We're
backwards
sabotaging
and
them.
walk out and just walk right in front of Coach Deep. Because they had to go from hitting to pitching. And I was like, just do it. And they were like, no
He was
way.
an instigator.
I did. Well, I was like, I go, he could get mad at me. That's all right. He's been mad at me plenty of times.
Oh, man.
So I was like, just go for it, guys. They were like, one of them, a couple of the 12-year-old kids absolutely wanted to do it just to like see what would happen. It didn't end up
I
happening.
don't think there's anything wrong with setting some expectations on behavior and things like that, and the correct way. High school coaches, they're like that. They don't come out here like that.
100%
College
like that in
coaches don't like it. They don't do it.
And
You
if
come
we
out.
travel
And if
with
we sit
certain
them all
attire.
down, if we sit them all down right here, right now, and say, how many of you guys want to play in high school? They're all going to raise their hand.
Yeah.
How many of you guys want to play in college? They're all going to raise their hand. Because right now, it's a reality that's possible for all of them
Yeah.
if they put in the work.
Right.
So they're all going to raise their hands. So if this is what you want to do, and I've already been there, this is what you're in for. So I don't want them stepping on the field freshman year, they make the team, they start doing some stuff at practice that they think is okay
they
because
show-
it was allowed by their
Show up with the
coaches.
popsicle.
They show up in shorts.
Oh, that'll definitely never happen. But like shorts, man, hat backwards, playing
There's a whole lot of
catch.
people watching the show that
So,
understand that feeling for
Yeah,
me.
nobody who comes through me will make these mistakes that, I mean, shoot, when I was playing high school ball and kids were trying out, I would see, because they weren't properly prepared by their coaches for what is going to be expected at that level. And you should walk in there day one like you've already been there.
Yeah.
You know, it shouldn't be this big shock to your system. Your coaches should have already been putting you through this for the last at least 2 years.
And if you've been going to the camps, right? And then especially with the GAC, I think if you don't take advantage of going to the GAC freshman camp,
Highly recommend it.
highly recommended. Yes, do it. It's a great camp. The head coach of the program is there,
And assistants.
and assistants. They're all there.
Usually their
They're-
secondary staff.
It was who was telling me this great story. I think it was I forget who was telling me this. It was Coach Reeder with Liberty. They were at the GAC freshman. They're playing Howe, and it's freshmen. And he's got these two kids. He said freshmen coming up, freshmen. He said they're probably low 80s already, pumping. He said, and the second kid, and he says, I'm walking by Coach Perkins, and he goes, huh, I didn't even know who that kid was. He goes, and he's like, what? He goes, I'd love to, and that's what I mean. Sometimes, you're going in freshman at some of these schools, you best be prepared to compete. And I think that's the thing, is at 9, 10, 11, 12 is, and especially 9, 10, 11, 12, is getting those fundamentals, getting those foundational pieces. And I love the attitude. You got to be able to know how to compete.
Yeah.
Because
It doesn't-
high school around here, high school baseball, you're going to have to go compete for a spot.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop with skill set either, or even the mental side. Imagine being a high school coach and seeing 100 kids show up to your first day of tryouts, and you're a freshman and you're all the way in the back. You get looked over. It's not on purpose. You know what I mean?
It's just, there's 60 kids there,
that
man.
are freshmen that you're trying out for
Yeah.
15 roster spots, right? So one of the things I even tell my kids is like, don't go into the back of the line because you're afraid to fail. Don't be
Yeah.
afraid to fail first, make your mistakes, and then three people down, show your face again. Jump right in line. If the kid in front of you says, hey, don't butt me, go behind him. Don't create an issue because it's not necessary.
Right.
But what does every coach want to see? And what is every coach going to tell you when you miss a rep? Don't run backwards and waste time. Let's keep the machine rolling, right? Go 3 deep.
Yeah.
And then get right back in line and then go back to you stay in that same spot. I would love to see that as a coach because all of a sudden you recognize that player. So you might be on a fringe or you might be the same player as the last guy on the team. Well, guess what? You made your face known, you're going to get kept. So it just doesn't stop with skills and drills. Like you have to have mental toughness, you have to be aware, you have to be willing to sprint harder than somebody else. You have got to find ways to make you noticeable when everybody is as talented as you.
Yeah.
You have to separate yourself somehow, some way. I'm not asking you to be a brown noser. I'm not asking you to be.
Well, that's not Brown. That's going and setting yourself.
Oh,
do you want to play?
Well,
you don't have to.
Do I want to play?
They
don't
feel
even have
that
to
way
say a
because
word.
other
And-
kids will put that on each other because that's
Yeah.
really the insecurity of a kid who's not taking advantage of opportunities.
Yeah, they call it politics these days.
Yeah, no, one kid wants to be in.
I know all about
One kid wants
politics
to
in
be at the front of
sports.
the line, wants to show his skills as often as possible, be in front of the coach as often as possible. He's trying to take ownership of an opportunity and get his spot. The kids who aren't doing that, for the most part, will just hate on him and
They will
call
be
him
cut in 2
names or
years.
whatever.
They'll be cut in 2
and
years.
it'll all be
regardless.
because they didn't think of it first, or they're not built that way. And guess what? One will keep playing, one will not.
Yeah, agreed.
I've done seen it for 4 seasons where I coached at. Most people know that at Timberland, and I've watched kids be on the forefront of the mind of a coach from day one at freshman tryouts, and they never left. Every year you would say, I want to keep that kid because of the work ethic, because of the drive. And sometimes that kid never said a single word, just worked hard, was always put in position where he could be seen. And it doesn't mean, again, that you start. That means that you might have a better shot at making a team because you've put yourself out there to risk that.
And
And I love that.
The other kids watching that happen, their answer is like, well, I don't want to be like him, and because they're getting labeled by their other buddies in line. They're all making fun of that kid. So nobody wants to be the second guy who's willing to do that. Oh, when
And
he's
it's-
doing that and it's paying off, maybe I should do it too. Instead, they don't want to copy him. Guess what?
You
When you
should.
become an adult, if something works, you steal it.
That's
those
what team
people,
is all
those
about.
people making fun. Stop. Those kids. Stop. Get in line and get your face. Go. Quit. Don't.
Quit falling behind.
Be
Get up and
part
get
of the.
yours.
Be part of the program.
This
be
is
part
exactly
of the
this
program.
is exactly what culture is, and I think that we try to teach here is just that, because we're only as good as our weakest link. My dad's always said that to me, and how that sticks with me is if you're the best player on the team, what are you doing to make the worst player on your team, which still may be a good player, how do you make that player better? And if you're the kid and it's jealous of the guy that's getting more attention or more reps, what are you doing to one-up him? And then what is he doing to one-up you? And while sometimes that might create some animosity, the competition level is only making your team better as long as you keep it sports related and not some personal vendetta against the kid, because the ultimate goal is to win, and that's what high school sports is. That's when it matters. Doesn't matter freshman or JV ball. Varsity baseball is when wins matter.
Yeah.
Because after that, it's real life. It's NIL money now in college, right? It's the ability to get drafted. You are now a business.
You know what? Go play baseball in college. Get your education. Enjoy it. Have some fun. If that's what you know, if you know you're gonna go to school, maybe not make it to the. Go play as long as they'll let you play. Go play. You never know what might happen. And go get your education and enjoy.
We've had guys play men's baseball and have an opportunity to play professional baseball.
Yeah.
From just wanting
Absolutely.
to continue to play. Now, is it often? No, but you see guys in indie ball get lucky and make it into the big leagues like Josh Kinney and stuff like that.
Well, and Tony's boy plays for me on the 10U. The 10U team is all a bunch of guys who coach or played at a high level, and we all happen to have kids around the same time, and we all play together now. So, really strong group of coaches on the 10U team.
To come out and watch you guys play a little ball.
I'm not recruiting for 11U or anything, but just saying.
Yes, he is.
As always, my dog over here. Appreciate you, Mitch.
Yes, sir.
Steve Mayer, pleasure talking
Hey,
to you, buddy.
no
Enjoyed
problem.
it.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
USA Prime, right? It's
Yeah.
here. The hitting
Just keep
zone.
it like beef.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a
Where's the
black
beef?
Angus,
You
yeah.
don't even remember.
I remember that. I'm
Okay,
old enough.
let me-
I'm
Yeah,
in that
about
age
that
group.
one.
I'm
Where's
lucky
Where's
the
the
enough.
beef? Yeah.
His age group might not remember.
No. But I appreciate the conversation. It was a lot of fun. We didn't get in the cage, Mitch. I'm gonna have to come back and dot some I's.
You can go hit with Ben. He's on our 16U USA Prime team.
There
You
you
can go
go.
hit with him and his little brother.
We got to do some player spotlights here.
Let's do it. We got some good players
Do
coming
it.
in.
Everybody, thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. Appreciate Mitch for opening up the hitting zone for us today for a live shot. We'll be again next week. Remember, Monday the 29th, Mackin Sites.
That was a flare.
Tuesday,
Hear
Rawlings
it off the
Training
tee.
Center. The Rawlings Tigers will be there. Thanks, everybody. Subscribe, hit the dinger. We appreciate it very much. Love the support. Have a great day in the Lord.
Hey, whoa. We're
What?
missing something.
What'd I miss?
I don't have some weird initiation to it.
No. It's what hitters do and pitchers do.
I'm getting there. I was just getting
Oh,
ready
you were
to say
shutting
that.
it down. No, he wasn't.
I
He
just
wasn't.
said have a great day in the Lord. All you pitchers,
You pitched.
you pitch.
What's and caught?
So
What
all
do
you
pitchers
pitchers,
do?
what do you do? What do you do as a pitcher?
Throw gas.
Okay.
I
that's
like
fine.
that. That's right. Throw gas. All right. We can do that. Hitters,
Hit them where they ain't.
hit them where they ain't. It's the old saying, right? Yeah.
You don't watch the show enough. I see how that is.
Oh,
No,
man.
no, no,
I
no,
see
no,
how
no.
that
We'll
is.
see y'all next time.
See how that is.